Shalom, ladies, and welcome back. We are doing verse 15 of the video, Proverbs 31, and I'm looking forward to sharing this one with you today. I hope that you have been enjoying the verse by verse study each week and the questions that go with it. And remember to use your prayer diary, write down the questions, write down anything that stands out to you, and go to Father and ask Him to guide you and to show you, and really make this as a personal study for personal growth. If you don't write it down, if you don't go back and ponder on these things, it's just going to be head knowledge. Another teaching you've listened to that just goes nowhere. Make this study, this verse by verse study, as a life-changing rhema that happens in your life, something that you don't just hear and store in your mind, but something that actually becomes to shema, to hear and obey, to hear it and do it. And you cannot do it if you don't have an understanding of it. And that is why we're doing the verse by verse study. So today, let us get started. We are in verse 15. Proverbs 31:15 says, "She rises also while it is yet night, and gives meat to her household and a portion to her maidens." So this rise means to abide, accomplish, to confirm, to rise early, to establish something. So you can go and have a look at all the translations of it here. The one that has been used the most for 240 times has been translated as stood or rise up. Now the word night is layil, and layil is to twist away from the night, but it figuratively means adversity. So, and it's also figuratively midnight, like a season. So this isn't necessarily the night, like you got day and night, but it also can refer to a season that you are in. We all face seasons where it feels like we are in the night. We are going through so many trials and adversity, and it feels like it's one thing after another thing, and you swimming in this deep, dark ocean, and you hardly able to catch a breath. You constantly being hit by one wave after another wave after another wave. And you get to that point where you scream out to Father and you go, "Father, when is this ending?" That is that season of night. And that is that adversity that we face. And we all need to go through it. We all need to be tested in our faith. We all need to go through adversity and trials and testing to strengthen our faith, to sharpen us, to get the dross out of our lives. Because how are we going to become more like Messiah if our flesh is still so strong? That is the way we burn the dross, we get rid of the flesh, is through trials and adversity. So don't see it as something bad, but learn from this verse what we need to be doing in those times. Because we all fail it, and I do too, specifically. When there is adversity or dark times, you are in spiritual warfare and not giving into self-pity. This is what a woman of valor does. So it is so easy to be, because you get exhausted. It's like your body, and the older you get, the more this happens. The more trials and things are happening, because we're juggling so many things as women. It is like it drains our resources in our body. And when you go and do tests and scans, you'll see that your minerals, usually your magnesium starts depleting, your vitamin C starts depleting, your body acid becomes more acidic, because you're in so much stress. The stress draws these nutrients out of you and you get exhausted. So you see how the spiritual affects our physical and the physical affects our spiritual. It goes hand in hand. But the woman of valor is growing into maturity, because we'll never get to that full maturity until Yeshua returns, unfortunately. And if you think you've arrived, I'd suggest you go back to the drawing board, because then you've got pride, because no one has arrived. No one will arrive. We are in the flesh. We've got to daily take up our cross. It is not you take up the cross once and you A-okay. This is a daily walk. We're going to fail daily. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to slip up. And it's so easy when we are depleted of minerals, when we are exhausted, when we are stressed out, to wallow in self-pity. And the way that you can see that you have grown is when that wallowing in self-pity becomes less and less and less. Where when the difficult times hit, instead of you wallowing in self-pity for a week, it now happens to be 3 days. And the next trial comes and you only wallow for 2 days. Or you might only wallow for a day. Or you might eventually only wallow for an hour. So and then you might, and the next time, you might go back to 3 days again. So you see, it's a matter of going, that's how you've got to measure yourself on your growth. And go, hey, you know what, I am stronger than the last time, because I'm snapping out of it quicker than before. And self-pity is so much easier. It takes less energy. It takes less effort than going to the feet of Yeshua, than going to spend time with Father, than waking up early. When you are exhausted, it is so difficult to get up early. Trust me, I would rather lie in bed, especially in winter time, and just pray to Father then. But then I wake up when the alarm goes off and I go, oops, dozed off. That's not time with Father. That's not drawing from Father's strength for your situation, even though that is the easier thing to do. But that is the fleshly thing to do. So this is something that we can all work towards. You as a woman of valor are rising early to prepare spiritually for the day ahead and for any potential dark times. So you see, when things are good, spend your time with Father, because you are busy building your reserves. You are busy building those muscles. You can't just go to the gym a day before you want to go to the beach or to a wedding or to a special function and think that, everything's going to be okay. You've got to spend time with Father daily so that you have the strength for the trials. You've got to go to gym daily so that your body stays in tune or starts getting in tune and in, looking good for that special event. You can't wait for the special event to happen and then all of a sudden want to start working on it. And that we've got to see that is exactly the way it is with Abba Father. So what does meat mean? Meat is teref, which is something torn, prey, food. You'll see that it's translated as spoils quite a bit as well. Only once, sorry. So prey 18 times, meat 3 times, leaves once, and spoils once. Now remember, spoils are valuable things from war. And so it's something you work for, something you fight for. Prey, you've got to go and hunt for prey. That is what the word prey is. It's not something that you go to McDonald's, go through drive-through and you get your meat. It is something that you've got to track, you've got to plan, you've got to work at it. You've maybe even got to go and run and, to shoot your bow and arrow or to set the traps. It takes work to get that prey. And it's something that really takes effort. Now, another note on meat. Paul talks about it. I'm just thinking about it now. Paul talks about that we've got to be growing to leave the small matters. We've got to stop drinking milk like babes, but we've got to grow into maturity and start eating the meat of the word. And you've got to ask yourself, where are you? Are you still busy with the milk things? Are you still waiting for people to feed you? That's what it means. That milk things is you waiting for people to feed you. You waiting for people to do things for you. You go to a congregation or church to get fed, to be that little bird like, feed me, feed me. Where if you are mature, You go and feed yourself. You go and study the word. You go and search out the scriptures. You become a Berean. You search out the scriptures to find yourself approved. That is that eating that meat. That is that spoils. That going to praying for that meat. It's not praying, but pray. Going to study and work for it. And that is that maturity. You're not depending on other people to feed you, but you're going to Father yourself for food. You relying on the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you in the scriptures. And it takes effort. It takes a lot of time to study the word. It takes a lot of time to really go and search out something and get a full understanding of it. And not just go and listen to a sermon to get an understanding, because then you get an understanding of someone else's understanding. You're not getting the understanding for yourself. So it doesn't become a part of you really. And that is the difference between the milk and the meat. Something I want you to really think about. Complacency is incompatible with greatness. Remember, complacency is easy. It doesn't take effort. It doesn't take boldness. It's easier to sit and listen to sermons than doing the study yourself. It's easier to sit on the couch and eat your potato chips than going to the gym and getting fit. And something that someone once said to me, you can all die old or you can die young. No, you can die at an old age with a young body, or you can die old and sickly. I would rather die old with a young body and mind than what I would sickly. But that means that you're going to choose your effort in that you're going to be eating a lot and just relaxing around and spending money on TV and all those Netflix and things like that, or you're going to spend your money on going to the gym, going for walks, investing in other people. That is you choose what you want to grow into. So that complacency is incompatible with greatness. You will never be great in the kingdom of heaven by being reliant on other people, by being complacent. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to put the hard yards in. You've got to do the spiritual warfare. You've got to do the petitions. You've got to spend that time before Father, and not just that little half an hour reading someone else's understanding of the Bible. You've got to go and do that full research of the scriptures. So let's read. Anyone who has gotten the book of, I've got it upside down, the book of Valour, page 55 to 56. Because the woman of valor spends time in the presence of her divine beloved, she has strength to begin work long before dawn. Does rising while it is yet night infer that she deprives herself of rest in order to start cooking for her sleeping family? And who are the maidens? Let's dig a bit deeper and try to answer these questions. She rises tells us something very important about her. She takes initiative to answer this call to action. She overcomes the impulse to remain where she is. Even if she is facing the darkness alone, she recognizes the need to prepare nourishment for her household. Remember, she has returned from afar with ample food for her family. The kind of food money cannot buy. After all, our Master stated that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by everything that proceeds out of the mouth of Jehovah. This Achet Chayil is not overwhelmed by unexpected circumstances or caught off guard without reserved supplies. While it is still night is an important phrase, because it describes those times when the light is temporarily obscured due to challenging seasons of life. Though we know morning will come eventually, at times it may seem like the darkness will never end. Have you ever felt that way? Like you are alone in the middle of a long night? At such times, it's tempting to hide away and surrender to despondency. After all, why does it always have to be me doing all the work? I deserve to indulge my weary self. I'll do my work when I feel like it and not a moment before. Those times of darkness are part of the cycle of life. Even when we are experiencing darkness, the sun has not ceased to exist. Though it can feel that way, it can be challenging to take action and feed our own souls, let alone meet the needs of those around us, when we are in a spiritual or emotional darkness. But the woman of valor does not cave to emotions. She makes a choice not to surrender to her feelings. During dark times, it is tempting to remain in a place of exhausted discouragement. We tend to feed the negative and indulge thoughts of self-pity. But the woman of valor rises up while it is still night and provides food for her household, because she faithfully spends time in Jehovah's presence. She has a reservoir of strength from which to feed others who are also experiencing the darkness. She has learned how to align her thoughts with truth, and she ignores the voices that tell her to give up. So where are you in this? Do you feel that you are many times giving up and rather being wallowing in self-pity? Proverbs 31:15, let's read that again. It says, "She rises also while it is yet night, and gives meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens." What is this portion? It says here, it's from choch, which is enactment, an appointment of time, space, quantity, labor, or usage. It also comes as a portion, set time, statute, ordinances, or decrees. So it's like commands. That's what Father gives us. He gives us his statutes and commandments. So now giving a portion to her maidens could mean, these are the things that you can think, and I'll tell you what I think. It could be instructions to her maidens for the work, duties that need to be done. But as we have seen, this is not literally, it can be literal, but most of the things in the Proverbs 31 is very spiritually inclined. Or it could be she gives a portion of the spiritual meat to the woman, meat the woman got in her time with Jehovah, to her maidens, her servants, her young woman she's in charge of. Or it's to give wise instruction to the young ladies of the community on how to conduct themselves with integrity and as an echet chayil. Now for me, I would understand it as that you are giving the spiritual meat to ladies that Father sends on your path, to women in your community, in your Bible study, women that you meet. And Father, it's amazing how Father sends people on our path that we are supposed to minister to, especially younger women. And it is amazing if you can invest in the next generation. That is what we are meant to be doing. We are supposed to be, as we are growing, there are women coming into different stages of life. You know, women who are just getting married or going into having their first child. If you've been through that, you've got experience to give to those ladies. And you've got learned experience. Learned experience is so much more valuable than what books or other things can give these young ladies. So I pray that Father will really give you a hunger and a thirst to invest in other ladies, to use your life, your testimony as an example for other people, to encourage them, to help them learn from your mistakes and not make the same mistakes. Because you know what? It's so good to look in hindsight and you go, oh, and how many times have you said, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done this and this differently. I say that so much when it comes to my son. And I think we all do, you know, as we grow in Abba Father and in our walk, we learn things and we go, oh, you know what, I could have done that differently. I should have done that differently. And what valuable tools is that to give to the next generation? That is the spoils of war. That is the spoils. that you can give to the next generation, and even to your own daughters and even your son. And this is what I said. What valuable spoils of your spiritual warfare can you share with the next generation of women? And that's why it's so important to keep a diary, because our memories are short. And going back sometimes and reading through things brings back that memories, and it can help you even when you are going through a difficult time now. When you go back to your diary and you look at things that you've been struggling with, or prayers that you had written to Father, to go through it and remember how Father helped you, you can use that as a prayer tool and go, Father, you helped me when I was going through this and this. I trust you that you're going to help me now again. I trust you that you're going to give me the knowledge that I need for this situation, like you did in that situation. That is what Israel was commanded to do. They had to remember. That's what the feasts are all about, is to remember what Father did, to glorify him, because it builds up our faith for our next trial, or the trial that we are in currently. So, verse 15 summary. The woman of valor takes initiative and does not wallow in self-pity. The woman of valor overcomes impulse to remain where she is, even if she is facing the darkness, challenging times alone. The woman of valor makes a conscious decision not to cave to emotions. The woman of valor will grow to maturity to teach the younger woman or maidens. The woman of valor has a warrior heart to feed others, even if she is hungry herself. The woman of valor has stamina and strength, and that comes with time. So these are questions that I want you to ponder on. I have posted it on the group as well. How much time do you spend wallowing in self-pity when things are tough? Have you grown spiritually, and how do you measure this? Are you learning spiritual warfare for every season? And this is important to learn while you are in the calm, not in the storm. Are you sharing the treasures or the spoils of your conquered battles with your household and maidens? Are you seeking out ladies to train up and teach, as Titus 2:3-5 speaks about? So those are a few things that you can go and study write up in your prayer diary, and really go and contemplate on it, and ask Father where specifically you need to focus on this week. And please share it in the group. Share it on our Facebook page under the Proverbs 31 study, or the Telegram group. Share your thoughts. Share the battles that you're fighting with, or things that you've conquered. Share your testimonies and help one another, because through your experience, your understanding of things can help someone else again. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to doing the next verse with you, verse 16, next week. Shalom.